Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Kim Turner Podcast, episode 11. I am super excited. I have a special guest. I've been trying for a long time to get this 911 first responder on the podcast. And today we'll be hearing from Keith Thornton from Chicago PD. Sadly, Officer Elephant lost her life on August 7th of 2021. If any of you followed that story or in the 911 world, you know about the tragedy of Officer French's loss of life, and it's the greatest sacrifice. And you know, as a trainer, I believe that there are always ways that we can learn and that we can improve and be the best 911 first responders we can be. For those of you who aren't familiar, we're going to play the audio, and we're going to have a conversation with Keith. Keith was the 911 first responder who was working the channel that day. So let's listen to it.
Talk to me. Who's running? I got somebody with emergency off 61. 861. Are you over there with them? 61 boy David. You guys okay? All right, guys. Who's running out there? Somebody's running. 6-3 and Bell. 6-3 and Bell. Give me some units. 6-3 and Bell. Keep the air clear. Who is this and what you got? Wearing the blue cup jersey. All right, blue cup jersey, Mel Black. He's running 6-3 and Bell. 7637 out. You got the air. Mel Black's the blue cup jersey. What's he wanted for? 6-3 and Bell. Please. He's good. 6-3. Mel Black, blue. What you got? Blue. Officer down. I got an officer down. 10-1, 10-1, 6-3 and Bell. Officer down, shots fired at the police. Officer down, Mel Black, a blue Cubs jersey. He's shot at the police. 6-3 and Bell. Give me some units. 713. Stay off my air, stay off my air. Everybody stay off the air. I got an officer down, 6-3 and Bell. Start rolling. I got an officer down, 6-3 and Bell. Officer shot, officer down, 6-3 and Bell. Give me some units. I want a perimeter set up in the location looking for a Mel Black in a blue Cubs shirt. A blue Cubs shirt with a Mel Black. Perimeter set up 2 blocks east, north. And wearing all black. Okay, I got a all black. Militants. Give me 2 ambulances needed for 2 officers down, 2 officers down. 7637 Adam, 10-4, we got him coming. 6-1 boy. Get those officers right there at the corner, 6-3 and Bell. I want a perimeter set up 3 blocks north, south, east, west of that location. I got a Mel Black in a blue shirt. Mel Black in a blue shirt, Cubs jersey, officers down. Turner gets over there. We got paramedics coming, 2 ambulances. Ambulance, 10-4, we got them coming, baby. We got them coming. Stay off the air. I want people looking, guys. Last scene, stop out for the location. Got a Mel Black in a blue jersey, 61. You're on the scene. I want a helicopter. Got 6329 Bell. 10-4. 10-4, we got PH1. We rolling, guys. I got train tracks east of the location. Female. Stay off my air without personal information. Got train tracks east of the location. Give me a perimeter set up over there, guys. 2 blocks in every direction. I want a perimeter set up in the location. 6-1, David, you got the south. You got the air. K9. I got my job. Do yours. Take care of my officers out there. Got 2 ambulances rolling. You got some better. Southbound, Mel Black. Blue shirt. Female, go. I think I might have hit the one. Female with the emergency, go with it. Slow it down. We got 2 in custody. Okay. 2 officers shot. Unit. Stop the car there, guys. Stop the car at the 10. Guys, listen. Got 2 officers down. We need a perimeter, guys. 6-3. We got 2 in custody right now. 2 in custody. I need a perimeter, guys. Start route to the hospital. Give me PH1. Hey, we need a paramedic to go to scene. We need action blocked out. We're taking one off the building. 10-4, we're going to UFC Hospital. UFC Hospital, set me up a perimeter to UFC Hospital, guys. Give me a route. Going 6-3, you're going east from 63rd. Take it all the way east, 1 to 63rd, 10463. We're going to take it eastbound. Are we taking both officers, guys? Units respond to the 10163 in Bell. We're transporting both officers to UFC Hospital. I want all of 63 going eastbound stop. All traffic eastbound 63 stop. I got 2 officers down. We're taking to the hospital. Give me a perimeter and stop all of those streets.
6723, we're clearing 63rd and Gale. Tell them they're clear to go.
Okay, who's coming up at 63 and Yale? What you got?
63 and Gale, we're clearing the intersection for them.
Clear the intersection 63 and Yale. Everyone stay out the air. Everyone stay out the air. I need a route. Who's got a route for me? Talk to me.
Look, all the way to 63 and West End. All the way down to 63 and Diamond. Everything needs to be blocked on both sides.
Units respond to the 10-1. I need a route set up. Eastbound 63, eastbound 63. Take it down to Western. Take it down to Western. All traffic eastbound 63 to Western. We're taking it to UFC for the 10-1 2 officer shot.
One officer is going to Holy Cross. Car with 71. We have an officer in our car. We're going to UFC with him. We're going down 63rd to State to 5555 over.
Listen to me, officer. Officer's going to Holy Cross. That's not a trauma center. We got to get them to a trauma center, guys. Take them to UFC. They're a trauma center. Go to UFC. Don't go to Holy Cross. It's not a trauma center. Take them both to UFC for now. UFC.
Car with officer that's approaching 63rd to Halstead.
Approaching 63 in Halstead now. 63 in Halstead.
637 more. We're going to UFC.
Take both officers to 57 Maryland, guys. That's the trauma center. We called the hospital, UFC. They got 2 officers coming in. Go to UFC.
And stop the traffic coming from Damon and Western. It needs to be blocked.
63 eastbound. Eastbound 63. I want Damon and Western blocked. All units 63, Damon and Western blocked. We're going to UFC. Come on, talk.
I got an ambulance here. Do we need them still?
Listen to me, guys. Stay off the air. Whoever has the officers, you're talking. That's it. Stay off the air. Get them with the officers talk.
I'll tell you what, we got the officer. We're on up at 59 right now.
10-4, 10-4. Okay, we got you, guys. Just call out the locations of where you're at. UFC is notified.
Going down.
Okay, 6-3 in Nashville, and now they're going to be...
Coming up. Now we're going to make a right on 55.
All right, going... You're at 55. Is that east or west? East? They're going east off 55 down from Asheville.
55th Street?
Yeah, 10-4. Right now. Guys, take Garfield and take it eastbound. Eastbound on Garfield. Get to 10-1.
5 right now.
Get us to the right. Get spot to the 10-1. We're going to UFC Hospital now, going eastbound 55th off of Western, 55 eastbound and Western. Block all streets. All right, you guys got the air. 731, what's the condition of... Stand by. 731, what's the condition?
That's your partner, Rap. P.O. Rap. He's with them.
P.O. Rap. What's the condition of the officer in your vehicle?
He's talking right now, SWAT.
Okay, 10-4. Whoever has my other officer, what's the condition, guys?
736, he's not responsive. He's unconscious. He's looking blue from the face. I'm heading right now north on 63rd and Halston, about 65th down to east to UFC.
All right, 10-4. We got him going, guys.
Where's that car at?
Where is the car at with this officer?
SWAT.
Okay, UFC 10-4.
Both POs in one car or are they in separate cars?
They're in separate cars, guys. Just stay off the air, please. Stay off the air. 10-4. Going into UFC. Very good.
Open the entrance at UFC.
10-4. Opening entrance to UFC. 10-4.
736, going east on Garfield and Halsted.
All right, Alpha Halsted, repeat. Get him with information off of Halsted.
I'm on Garfield and Union, 726 with the other officer, heading east.
Eastbound, Garfield and Union, 10-4. Unit at Garfield and Union, that's the unconscious officer. Unit at Garfield and Union, that's the unconscious officer.
736, repeat, I'm sorry.
now. While you're driving, the officer in the back with her, take the vest off and start compressions now. You got the air.
736, compression started almost 50 minutes ago.
Okay, excellent. Keep it rolling, baby. Keep it rolling. We got it coming. They know you're coming in. And units that are at UFC Hospital, have those doors open for me. Have them open, guys. Have them ready. Units in the crime scene.
He was off. Careful condition 1 GSW to the head, it looks like.
Go ahead, boy.
644, we got the male officer. He's here. They got him in the ER right now. Side door to the emergency room is open. Bring him through the emergency room side.
All right, bring him to the emergency room side, guys. Guys, male officer going to the ER. Bring him to the emergency room. And the other female officer, please get her in there, guys. Make it quick. Be safe getting there, but make it quick.
736, my officer here is on the head between the eyebrow.
That's right.
R3, repeat that last transmission.
Shot in the head between the eyes. Both officers unresponsive in the hospital. You'll see. Keep the air clear.
861 boys, Washington showed up.
10-4. 10-4. Units, secure the crime scene. If you're at the crime scene, secure the crime scene. Don't touch anything at the crime scene.
Powerful. I think it's appropriate for us to take a moment and pay our respects to Officer French. With that, I would like for us to welcome and have a really heartfelt, fruitful, complex conversation with Keith Thornton. So Keith, welcome. I appreciate you coming on the podcast today and having a conversation about a myriad of things, about the call that you were the primary dispatcher for, and then really like an update, like where you are now, what's going on with you, how can we support you as a 911 community. So kind of starting about like and thinking about, can you paint the scene? Like what shift were you working? How was the day going that day when this unfortunate event occurred?
Absolutely. And I appreciate you having me on, Kim. What I will say is dispatchers, not just here in Chicago, but everywhere, everywhere in the United States, we have a series of different shifts that we work, as you know, correct?
Yeah.
You can work 12-hour shifts, sort of like what nurses may do, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Here in Chicago, we have 3 different shifts and runs you about 5:30 in the morning till about 2 o'clock, then 1:30 p.m. till about, 10 o'clock, and then, onward overnight. I worked the busiest shift when I was in Chicago. Started out in the midnight shift, which was nice and popping in the beginning of things. Then it kind of dies down after the bars kind of close. But then I went on to the busiest shift, which was afternoon, starting at 1:30, kind of get off at 10 o'clock.
That would have been my shift.
Yeah, it was the best. And the great thing about this shift is even though you are worked to the bone, right? You're still getting off at 10 o'clock most days if they don't hold you over. You have that camaraderie and you kind of want to die down after that 10 o'clock. So you can still go out on a Friday night and go out with your friends, your family, and kind of chill, family party, whatever. And so on this particular day, I was expecting to do that actually with my my great partner who I was working with that day. And I mean, we were just talking and laughing. Literally right before this call came out, we were discussing what we were going to do that night and going out. And I mean, going from laughter and giggling and cracking up and singing, I used to do karaoke while at the council, to hear something really quick, very faintly in your ear. And it's kind of like that radio in a pocket and you're running. Knew something was going on there. I knew something was going on. If you go back to the beginning of that video, that audio, you'll hear a sergeant or lieutenant, I believe, coming on the air and kind of saying something or whatever. But then in the very background of that, another radio was keying in, and that was where that emergency was coming in at. And I'll ask multiple times, is there someone out there running? Because as time goes on, you learn these things. But as the minute kind of went through, it wasn't just someone running out there like a basic and very common foot pursuit. This was nothing like, what we do day in and day out throughout Chicago. Every shift, there's foot pursuits and whatnot. When you hear that there's an officer down and then multiple officers down, I mean, right now I'm shivering, because I was thinking about it even years ago. And just the amount of officers who are still shot and killed to this day all around the country, every single day on Yahoo, on, CNN, on Fox, every single day, even though that was my incident, every time this happens, it's relived over and over and over again. So hopefully we can talk about the mental health aspect of what dispatchers go through, but that's kind of what led to that day. Very nice, chill day until all hell breaks loose. And that's what dispatchers go through on a daily basis.
So the first thing, I know that I'm going to have to go to Chicago and do karaoke with you.
Let's do it.
That's number one. That's number one. And number two is, you talk about this idea of mental health. And one of the things I know you and I have never discussed is that my second master's degree was at San Jose State University. And my thesis was in dispatcher stress and wellness.
Yes.
And understanding that as a former police officer in a very violent city, that the stress that I felt as a 911 first responder, man, it was off the charts compared to what I felt in the field.
Yes.
So in having gone through this critical incident, Keith, what are your thoughts about wellness, about resources? I'm just curious of where you land on that.
Well, it's very interesting you bring that up because I've done both aspects of this job as well. I've worked as a volunteer firefighter since I was a preteen. I was out there doing CPR on young children and seeing death at a young age. So I hate to say it, but a lot of that prepared me along the route. Becoming an EMT, working on an ambulance, prepared me along the way. Becoming an LAPD police officer, working in South Central, kind of not far from where you were at. And you're working these areas and you're pulling up on different calls and you're seeing 5 people shot and killed in vehicles. And, an individual who was molested and, thrown into, I can't even say it, a rug and gasoline poured on it and burned to death. And we're pulling up because the caller thought it was a Christmas tree that someone was burning, which is typical. Sometimes they do that out there, but it's a body. And so to take all of those experiences and then go into out of the field, basically, and behind just a set of 5-6 computer screens where all you can do is hear. It's almost like you're blind now, Imagine, I can imagine it. And God bless anyone out there living with disabilities. I think they're superheroes, right? But imagine being able to see and experience all of your senses and being in the field. And then one day, all of that's gone. And all you can do is really just listen. And you're not just listening to anything. You're listening to officers who you have met and some you have not met. More often than not, you haven't met them, but you feel like you know them because you're talking to them every day. And then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose where they're being shot at. They're down and they're out, officer down. That's a lot of mental everything, I've gone through PTSD. I've gone through bits and pieces of depression. Sometimes, some people go through all types of different things, from bipolar to this to anger to all types of different things that you're winding up going through because you feel like you weren't out there to help. I think it was worse for someone like me who was actually, I still consider myself a part of that brotherhood, that sisterhood. I'm very, very highly engaged with law enforcement, not only within Chicago land, but throughout the country. I move around a lot and help our officers and do a lot of seminars and workshops. And so not being able to be out there really messed me up big time. But I went back to my training as if I were out there. And that is why, yes, this is a little bit of a different dispatch. This is a different audio when you listen to it. It's not the typical parroting that you would typically hear from a dispatcher who's waiting for info to come over and we're repeating it. That's what a dispatcher typically is supposed to do. I took it more on the stance of tactical dispatching, as if I was literally in the Marine Corps. God bless our soldiers out there. God bless our Marine Corps. But those are some hard-working men out there and women. And that day, that's what I felt. We were in the battle zone, and I had to just take that football and get it through that field. So tactical dispatching is completely different from regular dispatching. I think we should move toward that within the United States, because what our officers and our citizens are up against, it's not just the officers, but our citizens on a daily basis, what they're up against is nothing that we've experienced before, and this is a daily basis.
So what's really interesting is, and if you've ever taken a Kim Turner course, you already know the answer to this question. When I say how many of you are tactical dispatchers, and maybe one or two people raise their hand, I'm like, no, you're all tactical dispatchers. You may not have a cupola, because the call picks you. You don't pick the call.
It's true.
And bringing in those tactical dispatching concepts, right, for every call is hugely critical. Keith, you kind of said something there in the middle that I want to follow up on, if you're okay with. If you could wave a magic wand and you could create policy for every 911 center in the country specific to wellness, what would be your ideal way that agencies could support our 911 first responders?
Well, first of all, I don't know how it works in different places. I know some different departments are doing a wonderful job. Some agencies do a spectacular job in terms of their 911 professionals. Right here in Illinois, not so much. In the Midwest, not so much. Very, very overworked. Honestly, throwing you a pizza party ain't doing it. So things that we can do, that I would do effectively if I were in charge, is we have 1 sick day per month. That's great. That's 12 per year, and we need those just like any other job. But I go so far as to say dispatchers need at least 5 personal days that are paid, and at least 5 mental health days that are paid. And I bring that up because, for instance, I'll use myself. After this horrific call, I was right back to work the next day. I got off at 3-4 in the morning. And remember, I started at 1:30 p.m. So got off at 3-4 in the morning. I got home, was not able to sleep at all. I'm looking at the news. Everyone's calling me. I'm responding to text messages, and I didn't get sleep. And I was not able to utilize any time. I couldn't utilize any time. So I went right back to work. And guess what? I was there the next several days, and it was back to back to back to back. They tried to put me on a slow zone with my partner. We went to the slowest zone in the city, which is very typically inactive in terms of violent crime. And guess what? Like you just said a moment ago, you don't pick the emergencies, they pick you. And we had about 4 or 5 more officer down calls right after that, back to back to back to back to back. So once again, we need personal health days. We need mental health days for our first responders. And more importantly, we need community leaders and legislators to back our dispatchers and call takers and make them federally 911 first responders, right?
It's so first of all, I'll just take this in kind of chunks, right? It's the idea that as a former police officer, as you know, if you're involved in a significant use of force, OIS, that you are automatically sort of granted those 3 days off. That's how it is in California. I'm assuming that is a national standard, at least a day off. I'm a huge advocate for the idea that 911 also gets the same consideration, right? And that consideration for the time off is an opportunity to meet with mental health professionals, should you choose, participate in debriefing, should you choose, but really an opportunity to reset and recalibrate because you've gone through a traumatic event. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's wonderful with agencies taking a stance to at least start out with doing things of that nature. Once again, many places are not doing that. There are no days that dispatchers specifically can take off or call takers can take off. And even when they are allowed to take off, it has to be their own time. And sometimes they put that in for something, and it could be just wanting to take the day off to spend at the graduation of your child or whatever. I mean, we dedicate so much to the city and helping people and saving lives. and you have to wait until the night of to even see if you're approved with your day off the next day. You know, for someone who may have to travel somewhere or do this or do that to take a simple 3-day vacation, that's not the way to go. You know, and so it's a big hindrance to many agencies out where I'm at. And I'm glad that there are many agencies who are proactive. I know some agencies who have therapy dogs that live there at their agencies. These are different things that we should be doing here, not only within our dispatch centers, but our police departments. You know, 601 Chicago police officers as of right now have been killed in the line of duty. You know, just a few months ago, our last, you know, and suicides are moving up and up and up and up. Right. That's taken more lives of officers as well as other first responders more than the line of duty deaths. And so we need to be doing this not only in our agencies for 911, but we also need to be implementing these within our stations and our district stations within our police departments as well.
I couldn't agree with you more. And you referenced the idea of a national standard. So, as you know, Congresswoman Norma Torres has introduced HR 6319, which is the 911 Saves Act. I literally don't know, but have you been working towards that, or what is your opinion on HR 6319?
Well, I tell you what, I think it's great. I would absolutely love to meet with this Congresswoman. And I believe she was actually a dispatcher, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
She was a 911 dispatcher at LAPD.
There you go. You know, I was at an event the other day, a Right to Remember, for all the officers who've been killed in the line of duty. And we go out and we raise a lot of money for their families. This organization here, Chicago Police Memorial Foundation, raises millions of dollars, and they put all of the children who have lost their mother or their father in the line of duty. They put them through private schools. They put them through high school, all the way up to PhD programs. They're paying for this. So they have zero income or finances they have to worry about this. So I was at this and I heard our Chicago Police Superintendent Snelling speak very heavily about bringing more resources to the police department and backing them on a mental health aspect of it. And so he also mentioned people will never understand this job if you've never done this job. And I think that applies not only to police officers, but to 911 telecommunicators who are call takers and dispatchers. If you've never done this job, you probably won't understand it. Now, you can support us, though. You can support us by writing to your congresswoman, your senator, and this and that to say, hey, these need to be first responders, you know. But look at how much of a holdup this still is with just this bill here. It's a huge holdup still because people just don't get it. And people in these political positions and legislators, they don't necessarily get it. There's a huge divide right now within our country. And if you want to keep breaking it down, our state level, county level, and a city and local level, there's huge divides right now. And we're allowing so many politics coming the way of doing service for, number one, the community. Okay. Number two, our first responders and our city workers, right? And then number three, our education for our children. So there's a whole host of nonsense that's taking place here because people are allowing outside influences to come in instead of doing their jobs of backing the people who they need to be backed. You know, we take this job and we raise our right hand and we are sworn into office. And those are the same things that we must piggyback and go back to remember why we took these positions in the first place. And I think legislators should be held to the standard as well, and remember why they took this position.
So, you know, kind of circling back to that and listening to you, one of the things that makes me think about, like, that night when you're working the radio, you pulled in your experiences, not just what you experienced in 911. But if you were to offer any dispatcher out there, you know, that's listening, if you got that call and that call landed on your radio, what would be the most important things that you could speak to, whether it's geography, right? Obviously, you do the city, right? Knowing the level of your trauma centers, like what makes you different, Keith, and how can we instill upon the importance of other dispatchers,
Well,
right? Understanding those things.
absolutely. What I will say is, I don't want to say I'm different from anyone because I'm not the best at all. I'm no hero. I just call myself an ordinary guy with just an extraordinary heart. And heart is very, very important to me. You know, your heart gives love. Okay. And that's me. Okay. I don't care who you are, who you love. If you need help, Keith is going to be there for you, right? So when we go back once again, not only to that day, but every day since I had been dispatching, I'll take
Yeah.
you and I'm going to tell you the truth here. I started back in 2018, I believe. I started with the city. And let me tell you, I was one of the top of my class, went out and they said, hey, we're going to put you here and this zone. I said, hey, could I request to be put here on zone 12, one of the busiest zones in the city? Because I knew my stuff. I grew up here. I listened to that police radio my entire life. I listened to the fire side. I listened to the EMS side. I listened to the airplanes going in and out of O'Hare Airport, Midway. I was just a huge buffer, right? And so growing up and listening to this, even though I was brand new to this world, I said, I want to be put here. And if not here, then I want to be put here. And sure enough, they're like, wow, this guy wants to go over here. That's crazy. Well, I went there and I did wonderful. And guess what? A lot of the people around me laughed. They laughed. They made fun of me because they said, this guy, the way he dispatches, just, you know, he's just, he wants to be too good and this and that. And when there was downtime, because there's some downtime sometime where, remember I said we were laughing and joking around and we're talking about karaoke. And sometimes I'd pull open, you know, a policy. You know, even though Chicago is specific to dispatching to police, and on the other side of the room, they're the fire and call takers, and on the fire and EMS side, had nothing to do with me. But I'm reading, and people are, "What are you reading?" I walk past. I'm studying and highlighting the engines, the trucks, the tower ladders, the squads, the battalion chiefs, the field paramedic chiefs, the ambulances. I knew all of that. I knew how many helicopters they had, where they're located. In the wintertime, where are the fire boats? You know, all of these questions is what I think about. And I study those things, right? And then I get outside of the city. Let me look at Cook County Sheriff, because that's our county. Let me see what they have. Oh, they have K9 unit apprehension dogs. We don't have that in Chicago. That's interesting. Why would Keith want to know all of this nonsense? Well, because I have a passion that comes from my heart, because when all hell breaks loose, because when you're a police officer out there, it breaks loose. I've been in situations where I've almost died, right? And the only one on that radio that was able to bring me help was that dispatcher. And the only people, I didn't know where I was at. I forgot, me and my partner forgot our address. All we can remember, we were in a yellow house, and that was it. The dispatcher tracked our car, which was a block away, and she was able to give an intersection of where we're at, possibly 4 different streets we could have been on. And all I could say was, we're in a yellow house, barricaded and stuck. And there is someone in here with a gun. We have 3-4 suspects down on the ground at gunpoint. We need help. And I was scared to death. And an air unit came ahead, overhead. An airship is what we called it. And I mean, hearing those propellers was like hearing Jesus himself, baby. Okay. I was like, oh yeah, it pumped me up because I said they found us. And all you hear on that radio now is, all right, Air 3, we're overhead, guys. They're going to be at 7213 Langley, blah, 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 blah. Oh, Jesus, thank you. You know, for people to say that officers are not scared, dispatchers not scared, yes, we are. We are regular people. We have fear within us, right? But when you have that passion in your heart, and back then when I was honest, I said, man, if I ever go to dispatch, I'm going to be that dispatcher. I'm going to do, and I'm going to learn, and I'm going to train hard. So when it happens, when that emergency picks me, I'm going to be ready. And so that is that is what I. And you see me with my hands up. I'm about to catch a Holy Spirit in here, right? Because I love it. I absolutely love this. It is so meaningful to me. But when I speak to new people, whether they're dispatchers or not, call takers, firemen, EMTs, paramedics, policemen, I always tell them, train. Even now, as I'm driving and I see a police car on the side of the road and 2 officers, their heads are all inside of the car. I'm telling my partner, I said, man, one is supposed to be out looking, seeing what the hell's going on. Let that guy be the contact officer. But in LAPD, I will give 100% to LAPD. They teach tactics. And those dispatchers, tactics. And so the advice I would give anyone new, especially dispatchers, is no matter who laughs at you, no matter who talks behind your back, no matter whatever, well, look at what I did. And even though I was not able to save Ella's life, God bless her, beautiful soul, I was able to help save her partner's life, get him to the right medical facility by helping my officers who were very narrow-minded because they're seeing death of their partner, their friend, but keeping them, I'm like their football coach, keeping them grounded. Even though I was going through a lot of trauma, you will hear me crying on that radio if you listen to the whole clip. I still maintain my training, my experience, my background, and I still kept it real by being myself as well. Take that damn vest off and start CPR now. You know, that's Keith, KT, just like you. Kim Turner, KT, baby. That's what we do, right? And
That's 100 right there.
I think it was one of the first times. Like I said, this is not the first officer who's been killed. Unfortunately, it won't be the last. But this was an incident that blew up nationally, internationally. I think more than one of any incident that's ever occurred. And I think this shined a light big time on telecommunicators. And the sad part about it, Kim, I was wrote up with 7 different things from my job. Wrote me up.
I had no idea.
Yeah, well, you do now, because I tell it like it is, sweetheart. Yeah. Oh, you're not supposed to give instructions of 7 perimeters. You're not supposed to, you know, I think I said something on the radio. I said, we got them coming, baby. We got them coming. Keep my air clear. Oh, you said baby on the radio. That's immature. You're not supposed to say damn. You're not supposed to do this. You're supposed to stand by for an incident commander. All of those different things that I was applauded for, I was also written up for. And when that happened, it was very disheartening, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. But I say, you know what? I'll do it all over again. Because this job does not define me. No position defines me, okay? I define myself, my heart, going back to that. It's my passion to help people. So it doesn't matter where you put me, police, fire, EMS, dispatch, whatever. I'm always going to do what I have to do for the people who work with me, who work for me, and the people that we are serving. That's number one. You don't like it? Oh, well.
You know, I just have to be completely candid with you. That's disheartening. And I feel comfortable speaking from an administrative perspective is that, and also because I've been in the field, right? And I know what it's like to be in the field in a critical incident and having your dispatcher be that voice that you hang on. I'm sorry that they chose to sort of hang their hat on writing you up. That's certainly the opposite of what I would have done. I could say that very clearly. I'm also heartened by the fact that you would say you would do it over again, right? Because that's what we need. We need that voice there for us when you're in the middle of that chaos. You know, Keith, it makes me wonder about something. Like if you were given sort of a magic wand, right? Because I think about this, right? And I often joke to classes, well, if I were the czar of 911, this is what it would look like. But I'm not the czar of 911. If you were the czar of 911 and you were given an unlimited budget, no pushback, what would be the top 3 priorities for you for dispatch, right? Top 3 priorities, no budget issues, no budget constraints, no pushback. You're the czar. The top 3 things we would implement nationally. What would those 3 things be for you?
Well, number 1, technology. Technology is everything.
Yeah.
You know, I work in the private sector now as a public safety account executive for a wonderful global public safety companies that offers end-to-end solutions for all public safety. I'm talking about police departments, fire departments, emergency medical services, all the way to the state's attorney's office. Dispatch center is everything. And the technology that we are helping 911 agencies across the board with, it's helping the community, keeping transparency. It's opening the doors to fluid communication with people who are calling 911. It's reducing by 45 to 50% of individuals having to call back into 911 and tie up our 911 call takers and dispatchers with getting non-emergency information, because we're already sending that information to them. They call 911 right quick. 60 seconds later, it's just like Grubhub, Uber Eats. We're letting them know, hey, Chicago police, we're out, we're rolling to your location. If by chance the Chicago police cannot get there within 15 or 20 minutes and there's a delay because maybe they're going to a shooting now or something higher priority, we're going to text them back and say, hi, sorry for the delay, but we are tied up on this. But however, we are still coming to you because you're important. And you know, when they get a report, when they become a victim, unfortunately, crime victim, we let them know, here's your detective. This is your number. This is your RD number. We are going to help you and stay with you through the entire process and letting you know that officers and detectives are handling your case and this is what's being done. So all of that of what I do now is what I implement at my agency if I were in charge. Technology, because it's allowing not only great service to our community, which is number one, but it's allowing the first responders, the call takers, dispatchers, the police officers to do what they have to do instead of handling the admin side of things, correct? The second thing I would do is make, if I'm over a 911 center, for instance, make the environment better. You know, come up with a peer support crew, come up with, you know, having a dog at the facility where people can have their time, you know, come up with not just a little room that looks like a dungeon. You say, oh, this is where if you have a mental breakdown, you can go on here. No, have something set up, you know, maybe where there's a clinician there that visits on a basis or whatever, or you can call them and they're on call and they can come talk to you. Have something in a nice, clean environment where your officers, dispatchers, whomever feel comfortable coming to, because EAP is not always the answer. Being pulled off duty to say, oh, you have to go get your own, you know, private care provider is not always the answer. Sometimes it's a quick fix. Sometimes it's a quick fix. You know, so being able to provide the essential things there, you know, where I was working here in Chicago, there was no windows. You couldn't even see outside. It was a dungeon, you know. So preparing a great workspace is number two. And then number three, I think I'd bring my employees together with different stakeholders from within my agency and outside of my agency and say, here's what else we have to offer. What do you guys want to do with it? Bring people who think differently than me, who have different ideas, who have similar ideas, and let's compromise and say, we have this amount right here. We've already targeted the mental health aspect of things. We already have this in place. We already are helping the community this time, and we're getting, you know, great insights. What else can we do with this? That's what's missing, Kim. That's what's missing. These politicians get in positions, we do so much with election time and knocking on doors, and we put them in these positions, they forget about us. You know, we work for the citizens. It doesn't matter if you're the mayor, the alderman, the state rep, the senator, dispatcher, call taker, police officer, firefighter, paramedic. We work for the community. And so we have to learn, I don't care if it's Democrat, Republican, independent, socialist, liberal, gay, straight, bisexual, trans, all of this nonsense. We need to love all of that. There's the heart again. We need to love all of that. And we need to bring everyone together to come up with solutions and compromises. So that's what I would do if I had that option with those three things with my magic little wand there.
I love it. I'm all over that. I'm all over that because it's you mentioned at the end, right? It's not about our political affiliation. It's about coming together for what's important and what we prioritize in terms of public safety and really responding to our community needs. Man, I'm on fire right now. I appreciate you being here. Like, seriously, Keith, like, this means so much to me because I think that there's so many things that we can learn from the incident that you went through, but learning from you as a person.
Yes.
Right?
Appreciate
and
it.
learning from you, like, from the profession. And lastly, is there anything that you'd like to update everyone on, or or anything that like you'd like to add before as we kind of wrap up everything?
Well, no, it's just self-explanatory. This world needs a lot more love,
Yeah.
and I just want to say thank you to everyone who's providing service out there to others. It's just not first responders, but they, of course, a little bit biased towards them. I love my police officers, my firemen, my paramedics, EMTs, military personnel, all of that. Nurses, doctors, we appreciate all of you and thank you so much. It's just not one week that I'm out there advocating and saying thank you. I'm saying it every day. But on the side of that, and we're at fault with this too. First responders, it ain't all about us, right? You have to thank the person who works at Target, the security officers at those gas stations who are working very dangerous places, just like what we are. The people who are out there in the elote carts that's selling me corn that I love. I love my people out here, right? We have to start thanking everyone that makes our world, our cities, our counties, our states move in a
Yeah.
certain. And those can be people who are inmates coming out from the criminal justice system. We're not here to judge them. Now who I am out here to judge, right? And I'm not supposed to per my religion, but who I will judge are people who are out killing people. But people who are struggling with drug addictions and alcoholism, we need to help those people. People who are unfortunately experiencing homelessness, where I've been also, right? We need to help them. So once again, I really hate to bring up the politics because I hate it, but it's the animal here. It's the deadly animal. You got the Republicans that are on the far right. They don't want this, and this. And then you got the Democrats on the far left, and they don't want this, and this. Well, damn. I feel like I'm the oddball because I like some things from both sides. I guess I'm a Republican when it comes to my money because I don't like them taxing and taking all of my money. I guess I'm a Republican when it comes to violent criminals because I don't like violent criminals. They should be locked up and they should stay there. So I am very tough with that. But at the same time, I'm a whole gay man. I'm a whole black man. And there's things that I go through that my people go through and other people of minorities go through. And yes, it's not fair. And there are some bad apples out there within all professions, including law enforcement. And we need to correct that. But on the side to the Democrats, let's slow down with wanting to help everybody when we can't help our damn selves. Here in Chicago, we are, well, I'm not going to say we. The administration here has thrown millions of dollars out to help people who don't live here, who are not citizens here. But we have people here who have served our country, who are on the streets of Chicago under viaducts. And you know how our weather is here. It's either hot,
I know firsthand.
Yeah, or extremely freezing, where people die of hypothermia. Okay, I've worked these scenes. It ain't pretty. And we're not helping these people. So I guess I'm more Democrat in that way. I want to help people, so we have to take these positions and affiliations and all this nonsense apart and come together as the human race and try to help all of ourselves, because everyone can be helped in these situations, but we're the ones that stop ourselves from doing so. That's what the message I have for people. Take the positions off. I'm not dispatcher. I'm not police. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm not black. I'm not this. I am a child of God. And I want to do the best I can to help whomever needs it, right? Except violent criminals. Don't like them. Don't believe you should be shooting and killing and murdering innocent children, older folks, carjacking, pulling people out of cars. Because if that were my grandmother and that were my child, or if that were my mom or my dad, let me tell you something. I'd be locked up. So we have to be real with ourselves and take a look at the mirror and say what is not right and what is right. And we need to come together with that. And I think that's a good way to kind of end our conversation.
I appreciate you, Keith. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being your authentic self, unabashedly. I respect that on so many levels. And I have one question that I always ask all my guests, and I don't want you to overthink it, right? So if you were to describe yourself as a call type or type code, what would it be?
Shots fired.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for being here. A lot of people are going to learn a lot of things. And always thank you so much for being an advocate for all that's right. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. Say hi to Chi-Town, and I know that I'm going to be booking a flight, and we're going to be doing karaoke. That's what I know.
Well, hey, I'm ready for it. And I'll be coming back to my second home down in California. So it's going to be a great time. And I just want to say to you and to all your viewers, you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you for
Thank
this
you.
platform. I've looked at, all of your wonderful interviews with so many wonderful dynamic people, and I do appreciate you putting us out there because we need this as well. You coming from that managerial and leadership and administrative level, working all aspects as well. You've retired, but you're still here doing this, and that means a lot to us. So I think you're an example to the leadership that we need now, and you're also an example to individuals who are making that change from our old life of what we used to do, and now we're like in kind of retirement, or we resign, and we're like, what do we do now? There are things that you can do. You can advocate.
100%.
You'll be a great support. So Kim, hats off to you, and to
Thank
all
you.
of the viewers. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. I appreciate my brother. For real. I really do. Thank you so much.
You got it.